Hello everybody, welcome to the Sound Test Room. Today we are taking a look at Yonak's incredibly cool Kaspar synth. Kaspar's been out for ages, but I often feel it's underrated. It's an incredibly deep synth. It's really, really, really cool. So I'm going to take you into a deep dive of Kaspar and the sort of cool things you can do with it. Like this patch. Which is just lovely. Anyway, look, let's start with from scratch. Let's just do with a knit and make a new patch from scratch. A new patchage from scratchage. Here we go. Look, right. So if we go into layer, we have 8 synthesizers, 8 independent synthesizers that we can program in Casper. If we go into edit here, down the side here, we can choose any of these 8 synths to program. Okay, now if you look at the layers, you'll see that it has effects send 1 and effects send 2, a pan control and a volume control. So since we're only using layer 1, so let's go to edit, choose synth 1, and each synth has 3 oscillators. Okay, so what's that? 24 oscillators in total you can use, and they're independent oscillators. Each oscillator has its own volume control, its own tuning, its own octave control. So, and we're on a basic saw wave here. Now you have an awful lot of waveforms here. We have sine, triangle, pulse, saw you've heard. And if you're on a pulse, you have pulse width. Then we also have all these other ones as well. Now, this is just one oscillator. Okay, so you have 3 oscillators. Then if you go into the filter, now, as long as we're selected, we're on synth 1, right? So we're in filter section of synth 1. No filter applied. And we also have a large range of filters we can choose from. We have a comb filter. Many other filters, all pass, notch, comb, formant filters. Now the filter, of course, is shared over the 3 oscillators in synth 1, but then you have a further 8 filters because you have another 8 synths. So let's leave it on formant for this one, right? Then we have our amp envelope here, and we also have a hold, which is very handy, so we can control the release here. Different curves, of course, linear. CST1, CST2, I'm not sure what that is, but there you go. Attack. And it's a really long attack, which is good for making great pads. We have a decay. Now, if we have our hold set at 0, right, it's gonna, let's have this quite obvious. And let's have it go up. And then it'll go down to the sustain point. And when I let go, it'll use the release point. Okay, but we've also got this hold. And that means that once we release it, it will hold for a little bit before it really reaches its decay section. So again, more control over your envelopes and stuff. If we go back to our layer here, we can choose the volume. We can pan it. Let's add in another oscillator. And we can ring modulate from oscillator to oscillator 1. Now don't forget now that the oscillators are sharing the same filter and amp, of course. So back onto edit. Then you have your LFOs. Now we need to go into our modulation section to control the LFO, of course. Well, let's say, for example, we go into our mod section here, choose a target, and here's all your targets, so you can control pitch +1 and all the rest of it. But let's make it sort of obvious. Let's choose filter frequency, okay? And then we need to choose what we want to control a filter frequency with. Well, we'll choose LFO1, but you've also got a modulation envelope as well. But let's pick LFO1, okay? And there's your modulation envelope, by the way, where it says EMB. So let's go back to our LFOs. In fact, let's go back to our mod envelope now and give an amount. Now that's controlling the filter frequency of that formant filter. And there's the speed. Now you also have a delay for the LFO, so if we go back to our amp envelope here and bring up our sustain, I'm going to take our hold down, so as soon as I release, it just releases. And we still have one oscillator left that we can play with here, but we don't need to bother with this. Okay, so like I said, that's your assignable filter envelope that you can assign via your sources here. Then we have an arpeggiator. Now you also have 8 arpeggiators, right? So an arpeggiator for each synth. If I turn this on, and I'm just playing a kind of gate. This is our resolution. Just let's leave that off for now. Note repeat. Actually, and then we have octave. And then octave repeat. Okay, and then you also have down here notes that you can use, but I mean, this is entirely up to you. If we go into program mode, I play it, we get nothing, but let me put a C and a D in. Okay, so let's go back to live, which is just our normal arpeggio. Let's turn it off. Now you also have chord. Now this is really clever, right? You can, for example, if I play a C on my keyboard, I'll play this C4. here, right? I'll switch this on, and if I play have a D in here and an E, I'll go with a G actually. Now I'm playing this C note and it's playing these notes for us. We could go to, this is telling you what the actual, like, we know that this is a fifth. Now if I go to a C sharp now, it's just going to play one note. So you can program chords for each individual key you play. And this is pair synth again. So for example, if I play a D here, and I want that to play, I don't know, let's these. Sorry, C sharp, sorry, this is. So that's the notes that they sound really dissonant. So you can program custom chords to play per note as well. Okay, so it's super powerful, right? So these are your controls for your synth, right? Now you have your global effects. So for example, I've got reverb switched on here, right? So switch on, it's selected. So if I select this chorus here, it's switched off. But if I turn it on, this is effect send 1. So you have 2 effect sends. So if I turn up effect send 1 now on layer 1, okay, so now you're sending your chorus and reverb, but you could also turn on delay, and you can go to effect send 2 and switch on anything you want. If it's highlighted here, this is what you're seeing. So if we want to look at the compressor, we choose compressor, EQ, chorus, phaser, flanger, amp, etc., delay, reverb. But until you turn them on, they're not going to be. I can turn them on here as well. So that's synth 1, right? So layer 1. Let's turn on synth number 2. Let's switch off synth 1. Let's go to edit and choose synth number 2 here. You get the idea of how blinking powerful this is. You also have glide, which is independent of the synth. It's polyphonic glide as well. So let's go to our amp for a kickoff and make some. Go to our filter. Let's put in a kind of this fat 70s low pass. Keyboard tracking as well per filter, and the blend. So you can mix in the filter with a bit of the unfiltered signal. Let's go back to our layer again and give that some volume. Let's look at effects 2, right? So let's switch on the delay for effects 2. Let's pick it here. Let's go back to our layer and blend in some effects 2. Let's go look and mess around with the time and stuff. Go back to our edit for our synth 2. Let's go back to our oscillator and choose a sine wave for our second oscillator. Just to give it a bit of boost. And if we look at our layer again, let's switch it on. Now let's pan these quite a lot. And now you've got this this very cool patch. So let's turn on oscillator 3. And let's straight away for oscillator 3, let's go into edit mode and go into ARP. Now, you look, this is, see how cool this starts to get like. Let's switch this on. Let's mess around with our... And we can solo it. Look, if we're on synth... are we on synth 2 or synth 3? So, synth 2. Synth 3. Hang on a minute. Let me just sort this out. I'm going to switch the ARP off for that because I edited the wrong one. So just go to edit for synth 2, go to ARP, turn it off. Go back to our layer. Unsolo it a sec. Right, let's solo synth 3. Make sure it's switched on, of course. Go to edit, ARP, switch it on. And let's see, synth. Again, you got to make sure you're on the right synth, okay? Otherwise, it's going to get confusing. So switch it on. Let's go to our amp. And now we've got let's put a filter on here as well. Let's go analog, precision low pass. And I think effects 2 was our delay. Yeah, so let's put a bit of delay on there as well. So we need to go back to our layer and add effect 2 in. Now, if we bring the other 2 back in, we're going to have this doing its arpeggiator and these 2 not, of course. And let's give these 2, let's give synth 1, remember to always select it here, synth 1 some attack, and synth 2. Go to our amp and give that some attack as well. So now we've got those fading in. Lovely. And we've only used 3 synthesizers, okay? And like I said, with any of the synths, they all have their own LFO. You can choose what you want to modulate. And you can go in and mess around and say, well, okay, I didn't do much with synth 3. I just played around with it. So let's give it some, and let's give it another oscillator. Don't know what this will sound like, but you never know. Away you go. Let's change this to a turn it down in the mix a bit. Okay, so let's solo number 4 and turn it on. And again, we get a basic patch. Let's go to Edit, select Synth 4. Let's go to ARP again, and this time let's turn it on. Let's have this go. Let's go to our oscillator. Nice. Let's use all three this time. Okay, and I got amp. So now we've got these two different arpeggios going. Let's make this more obvious. It's going to be more obvious change in arpeggiation. So let's look at number 4. Let's go into edit. Got no filtering going on, so let's also, I think a bit of delay on that. We could modulate that, but this time we could modulate it with synth 4. We could use it's maybe the filter frequency, or you could maybe the filter blend or the filter frequency. Filter frequency will be fine, but this time our source will be our mod envelope. And let's look at that. And let's look at our filter. So now our mod envelope is controlling how much that opens. And again, by the way, we can unsolo from here as well. Brilliant. I mean, and that's 4 of them. So you get the idea. You could do another 4 of those as well. Now, you can, of course, assign modulation as well. If we go into edit, say, and go to our mod, this center, it's here where it says control. This is where you assign your mod wheel to control. So you've also got control of aftertouch, velocity, key tracking, LFO1 and LFO2, controlled by whatever you set as the control here. So, for example, a mod wheel. And like I said, 2 LFOs per synth. And then you're mixing. So already it's a very complex patch, right? So I am going to go in here and click on this. I think it's this. Yeah, and it's saving a new preset. So I'm just going to call this, I'll just call it Morphing Arps. Okay, just for now, click, done. And there it is. And then I've got my morphing signs. My morphing arps. I'm going to now apply some morphing. Right, so how does this work? You have groups here, and these are associated with the 4 corners. So for example, if I put them all, because we're only using 4, not 8 synths, by the way. So this is your synth. So we're using 4 synths, right? So we only need to worry about these 4 here. If I group these all in, if I play this, let me turn it on. If I play this now, we won't hear anything. But if I go all the way up to A, we'll hear all of them, right? So if I put synth 2 on group B, synth 3 on group C, and synth 4 on group D, right? So now we can morph between our separate synthesizers. Okay, or anything in between, how you like it to work, right? So now, of course, you can do this by hand, or you can automate it. So to automate it, all you need to do is switch this on and then hit right. And now all you need to do is play anything you like and automate this. So for example, we'll do this, right? So I'll... and then end up in the middle. And if I let go, I can actually switch right off, and it'll just follow the path that I programmed. And this here is the speed. And this is the mode. So one shot, it'll play it once and then it'll just hold where it stays. like this until I play another bunch of keys. Very, very, very cool. And we can go back to forward and backwards. And then to overwrite this patch, all we need to do is hit this one and it will say changes saved, okay. And now our morphing arps, if I go to another patch I made and then go back to our new morphing arps patch, there it is. So let's quickly make another one. If you're watching this via Premiere, by the way, thank you very much. Much appreciated. Please strike the like, subscribe, and all the other cool stuff you could do to help us out here. So right now, you must be getting an idea of how blinking ridiculously powerful this is. So as soon as we init a patch, right, and we can create new banks and stuff, and eventually I'll fill this up with a bunch of patches and stick it on Patreon for you guys. If you're a patron already, you can get this for free. All right, so let's see what we can do. Let's not make a morphy patch. Make maybe a keyboardy type patch, right? You know, something that doesn't sustain, not a pad. So go to my layer first, and I'll just use layer 1, and I'll go to edit here. So let's select a pulse. Let's go 100%, which is basically a square wave, right? So I'm going to have to mess around with my amp now to get what I want. Okay, that's a nice keyboardy type patch. Let's bring in a sine wave here. Okay, fine. Let's got to be filtering some of this. So let's see what we've got. I don't want comb. I'll do this with my fingers. So you got a big choice. Analog low pass. Let's do that. Okay, let's look at our effects. Effects 1, I'm going to switch the chorus on, and also I think in effects 2, I'll switch reverb on. Let's see what we've got going on here. Let me select reverb. Let's go and blend that in. Yep. Want to look at effects 1, chorus. think on effects one as well, maybe we could try some, we'll put an amp on there. Let's look at the amp. Make it a bit. And what I suppose another thing you could do is if we turn on another layer, let's switch this one off. Let's just, for a start off, let's see if mixing some of these effects in before we do anything else. Let's go to, we need a filter. So let's go to Edit, select Synth 2, and filter. Let's use the same filter. Okay, I need to go back to my oscillator and bring in, I guess, a sine. Maybe change. All this stuff a bit. Go to our envelope now for Synth 2, so our amp. And this one, I mean, since this has such a long attack time, which is very cool. That might sound cool is if we blend this back in with our piano. Let's switch our synth back on. So we've got our, and then if we hold some keys down, then that synth is going to come in. Now what I'm doing is I'm holding down a key. If I hold this C4, watch what happens if I play. I'm going to play some of these, right? It's so cool. And because I'm holding them all down now, they're all going to fade in. Epic. And again, you just go in and go, right, you want to save this. And I think is it this one, I think? Yeah, save as basic piano and pad, and then just hit enter and you're done. And now you've got your new patch. So then you can go on and bring in your other 8 synths. It's absolutely fantastic. I really love it. Right, guys, I'm gonna finish off now. I'm gonna just play a few patches from, I guess I might play some from Spider, and he knows exactly what he's doing. But you can create the same results if you spend time. Not like I've just done super quick, just to show you how it works. But if you spend time with it, you also have like the Yonax basic tape recorder. You have your preferences here. If you spend time with, and Spider hasn't even morphed any of this stuff. Use three synths. Casper is a really powerful, interesting, exciting, and entertaining synth. It's easy to program. The more time you spend with it, the better results you're going to get. I'm going to close the microphone now, guys. If you're watching via Premiere, you can say ta-ra to each other, and I will see you later. Ta-ra. I'll put a link in for Casper in the description. Probably a lot of you have already got it. Some of you may not have bothered digging in though, you know.